Hello, my name is Dr. Weber and I'm your instructor this semester for General Anatomy and Physiology. A couple of things I want to say about this class to start is that first, it's a fully online course. Everything you need is online. I will have Zoom sessions for you if you want to attend. They are not mandatory. And I also have online office hours that you can schedule and set up. So I'm always available for you. So even though it's an online course, I want you to feel very connected to the course. The second thing I want to say is that this is an 8-week term instead of a 16-week term. We have 96 hours of classroom time. So instead of doing those 96 hours in a 16-week term, we're doing them in 8 weeks. For you, this equates to about 12 hours a week of time that you will devote to watching videos and doing activities and assignments that I've assigned. And in addition to that, you're going to need some extra time for studying for the exams. The exams will be about probably 3 hours each that you'll need to study for. So basically you're looking at about 18 hours a week. This is very different from probably most of the other courses you've taken at WCTC, where you could basically, have less time that you need to use to study, maybe study just for the exam right before the exam. This is a science class that has a very dense curriculum, and you need to be able to dedicate probably about 3 hours per day. So I just want to put that out there for those of you that are thinking that 8 weeks was going to be easier or just less work than a 16-week term. You're actually going to be needing more hours of study time per week. So what I want to do is I want to go over our course with you. So without further delay, let me share my screen here, and we'll go into our Canvas course. So first of all, I guess I'd like to just show you, if you're unsure of how to get to Canvas, because Canvas is the learning management system that we use, you want to just go into your wctc.edu and then into your My WCTC area, and it'll look like this, and then you can go into Canvas. Once you're in the Canvas, you can always bookmark this. So you would just go up and bookmark this so that you can go directly into Canvas from now on instead of having to go through the WCTC portal. So these are the courses that I have. You'll see this course, and this is the course you're going to want to get into. So this is General Anatomy and Physiology. I'm going to turn this into a student view so that you can see it exactly as you would be seeing it. All right, so this is the home page. From the home page, I usually don't do much on the home page here, so I would suggest just going directly to modules. So this is your course, and as you can see your course, I'm going to just minimize all of these sections here. Oh my goodness, they're all open. So as we see this, first of all, you'll see a module 0, and this is where you actually want to start. There's several things in here that I'd like you to do before class actually starts. So you'll be going in here and doing those things. I'll talk about that in a minute. This next section are your lecture notes and lab lists. If you maximize that and open that up, you can see that there's several things that I'd like you to print out. These outlines are the actual notes that you can use, and then you can write alongside there and add any additional notes as you're watching the videos. And then this PDF here is your lab list. So these are all the structures that you need to know. This lab list has just words on it. So if we open this up, you're going to see that it's just all the words that you need to be able to identify on models or diagrams. The lab exam will be just identifying those lab pictures, those structures. So I've also put in some documents here that actually show a couple of the pictures that I'll be using on the exams. So you can, I don't know that I would print these out, but they have the actual pictures that will be on the exam. And I've put this in a Word document because if you have trouble ever looking at something and saying, I'm not really sure what that is, once you've downloaded this, you'd then be able to expand that picture and make it a little bit bigger. So you can print out these lab pictures if you want to. You can resize them if you want to, but you cannot use this on your lab exams. You'll only be able to use the document that I have, the PDF, where there are no pictures on it. And that will be your word bank. Okay, so if we look at the way that this is arranged, you'll see that I have 8 modules because we have 8 weeks. So in Module 1, this will be your first week. This is what you'll begin with on Monday. It contains chapters 1 through 4. So when we look at this module, you'll be able to see all of your assignments, everything that I expect you to do for chapters 1 through 4. So before we get ahead of ourselves, I want to go back and look at Module 0, but I wanted to show you how that was set up. Module 1 and then Module 1A are the exams. Module 2 is Week 2, and then Module 2A are the exams. Module 3 is Week 3, and then Week 3 exams. So let's look at Module 0. First thing you're going to do is click on each one of these links to do some of the things that I need you to do prior to the class beginning. So to get started, you click here. This is just going to tell you what it is I want you to do before class, view your syllabus, fill out the student information, register for Mastering A&P, enroll in the science club, and print the lecture notes and lab lists. So that gives you the beginning of what I want you to do. Then you can click here to see how the course is structured. This is my expectation of you, that Monday through Friday you'll be watching the lecture videos, taking your own notes, completing your own drawings. You'll be watching the lab videos and reviewing the lab lists. Then on Friday, dynamic study modules are due and homework is due. Now, I don't recommend that you try to do all of your dynamic study modules and your homework on Friday. What I recommend is that for Chapter 1, you watch the lecture video, you watch the lab video, then you do the dynamic study modules and the homework for Chapter 1. The next day, you do Chapter 3. You watch the lecture videos for Chapter 3, watch the lab videos for Chapter 3, then do the dynamic study modules for Chapter 3 and the homework for Chapter 3. Same for Chapter 4. Watch the videos, then do the dynamic study modules, then do the homework. So if you're doing this the way that you're supposed to, by watching the videos first and doing the dynamic study modules the same day, you don't have to worry about on Friday that all of these things are due. I do give you until Friday because I don't want to micromanage you. I know you have busy lives, you have family, work, other responsibilities, so I don't want to micromanage you. So I do give you a Friday due date, but my expectation is that you complete these before Friday. On Saturday, there are some lab activities that are due by midnight. Again, I'm giving you just a time when they're due. You can do these anytime during the week. So the lab activities for Chapter 3, you might do that, at the same time you're watching the lecture videos and doing the dynamic study modules for Chapter 3. And then the other thing that's due on Saturday is the lab exam. So the lab exams will be due Saturday night. This is so that I want those lab exams out of the way. I kind of suggest that you complete them by Friday night just to get them out of the way, and then you have the rest of the weekend to study for the lecture exam. Then the following Monday, that's when your lecture exam is due, and so it'll be due by midnight. So most people, are using Monday to study for that and completing that by midnight on Monday. There are also practice exams that are in the science club that I'm going to show you. Those practice exams are due at the same time that the lab exam is due, though most people are doing these practice exams throughout the week. These practice exams are extra credit, so they're due the same time as the lecture exams. All right, so that's how the course is structured. We're also having Zoom meetings, but those Zoom meetings are optional and they will be recorded so that you can go back and look at them. You can click on this link to hear a little bit more about me. You can click on this link here for office hours. Now this semester I've done something new. I've created a Calendly account. So it's a one-on-one or a group meeting. It's a scheduling site, kind of like Sign Up Genius. So you can just copy and paste this into a separate browser screen. And then you can go ahead and make an appointment with me at any time. I have 30-minute one-on-one meetings, or I have group meetings if you want to meet with other people. So you just click on the date, and then you click the time, and then that will send me a message and let me know that that's when you want to meet. I have these meetings set up Monday through Friday from 9 to 5. If you're thinking that you can't make it during any of those times and you still want to have a meeting with me, just let me know, and I can try to accommodate you if you need an evening appointment. So we have one-on-one meetings, like I said, and there's also group meetings, group meeting or one-on-one. So you're able to make an appointment for either one of those. You can also change it. So if you make an appointment and then you think, oh no, I need to go back and change that, you can always go back in there and change it. That's no big deal. Here's some information on Zoom. Most of you at this point are very familiar with Zoom. This is the link we're going to be using for all of our meetings. I'm going to be meeting on Zoom online on Mondays and Thursdays at, and that's wrong, it's not 8 a.m., I'm meeting at 10 a.m. So I need to switch that time. That actually should be 10 a.m., not 8 a.m. 8 a.m. seemed to be a little early for some students in the past. So just please make that note. Mondays and Thursdays at 10 a.m. Our Monday meetings, I usually go over, okay, this is what we're going to be doing for the week. These are, the assignments. Some of the assignments are going to be new. Some of them are going to be same old dynamic study modules and homework. Thursdays, Zoom meetings, I'm going to go over some difficult physiology topics where you're going to be tested on, and students tend to have some difficulty with those. So that's kind of what I do. Mondays I go over the week, and I'll also touch base on some difficult questions that might be on the exam that night. Thursdays I go over the more difficult physiology questions. So these are not mandatory. They will be recorded. You can always find those if you go under, so you have to go under the Zoom link here. You can always find your meetings on the Zoom link as well, and you can join right from the Zoom link. And you can go to cloud recordings if you ever want to look at any of the Zoom meetings that have been recorded, and they all will be recorded. So then keep going down here. There's some things I need you to do. I need you to download the Lockdown browser. You have to have a computer with a webcam. You're going to be taking your exam on a Lockdown browser. So instead of taking it on Chrome or Firefox, you will be using a Lockdown browser. So you need to make sure that you have a computer that has that capability to upload the Lockdown browser or download the Lockdown browser. So here is the exact link that you need to download the browser. If you just try to search for it, you might end up getting one of the editions that are older, so make sure that you're using this link. This is an installation instruction. Now, in the past, I haven't had a ton of trouble with Lockdown browser, but if there is a problem with Lockdown browser, it's usually because there's other apps that are open on your computer. And so what's recommended is that if that happens and you have trouble with Lockdown, that you uninstall the Lockdown browser and then turn your computer off and then on. So restart your computer and then go back in and download the browser again. And this usually closes all the other apps that are giving Lockdown browser issues, and you should be able to go forward at that point. So like I said, I've only had a couple of issues here and there with Lockdown browser, and most of the time it is that there's some additional apps that are open. So here's the things, other things you need to complete besides downloading Lockdown browser. I want you to click here to enter your information. You can see that some people have already put in their information in here for, I'm looking to see what your intended program is. You know, like dental hygienists, they're looking for a higher grade in this class because they need a B or an A probably to get into that program. You know, I'm looking pre-dental. That's really good to know. So that's a pre-professional program. And nursing, pre-physical therapy. So these are all pre-professional programs. It really helps me to understand what you need. A lot of the people that are going to transfer, they might need B's in the class. So I can just look at that and make sure that I'm helping to keep people on track for that. Then I also like you to put in the body system you find most interesting and the one you find most difficult, just so that I can get an idea of, okay, I want to spend a little more time on these different body systems for you. So it looks like some people have already started doing this, which is excellent. In order to enter your information, you click on Edit. You go down to an empty box, you enter your name, your program, your systems, and then at the bottom you're going to just enter Save. Right? So this is a very helpful tool for me. Whatever you put in here, everybody is going to be seeing, just so you know. All the other students will see what you put. Then when we go down to the next thing, you need to enroll in the General A&P Club. So to do that, it's pretty easy. There's just a link that you need to click on. Once you click on it, you're going to enroll in the course, and then you'll be in the course. I'm going to show you what that is. Later, we'll go to the course. It's just another course that you'll see on your dashboard. Whoop. All right. It kicked me out because I wasn't supposed to do that as an instructor. So let me go back to student view. Okay. Go back to Module 0. All right, so you've enrolled in the General A&P Club. Then you need to click here to register and access the Mylab and Mastering A&P. This is where all of your dynamic study modules and homework are going to be, so you need to get into there. You do not need to pay for this. This is included in your tuition. So when you click on this, again, I'm going to have to get out of student view in order for it to work on mine, since I'm the instructor. But you'll click on here, and once you get into this place, whoops, having some snags here. You're only going to see your class. So your class is CRN 23014. You can find that up at the top when you look at it. It's also on banner. It's on your syllabus. So this is your course, 806-177-23014. You're not going to have these other classes to worry about. So basically you'll just be looking at Pearson, Mylab, and Mastering. You're going to click on View Course Materials, launch Publisher's website, and then you're going to go through a series of things. They're going to ask you some questions. And if it gives you the option to opt in, make sure that you opt in. Then you'll refresh your page. You can go back to modules. You'll go through that same link then to register for it. Same exact link. You'll go to your course, view the course materials, launch the publisher's website. It's multiple steps, I apologize. And then you'll open Mylab and Mastering. Okay, once you get to Mylab and Mastering, I think yours looks just slightly different because you're a student, but you do want to go to all assignments. And here you can see your homework assignments, and you can also see your dynamic study modules. There's a grade book that you can go in and take a look at to see how you're doing on those. It sounds kind of difficult on how to get to here, so I'm going to show you a couple of easier side shortcuts to get here. So this is just your Mastering A&P where your dynamic study modules are and where your homework is. So let's go back to our modules here. I just want to make sure you get registered for it, and then we'll go over that in just a few minutes. Here are some instructions on how to register for that Mylab and Mastering. Okay, so then when you're done with that, make sure that you are printing out your lab, your lecture notes and your lab list. So there is literally nothing that you need to get at the bookstore. If you go to the bookstore and you ask for notes, they're going to give you notes. The notes are going to be, they're okay for our class, but they're not my notes. And then the lab structures, they might be slightly different. So I would print these lab structures, and I wouldn't get those lecture notes or lab lists at the bookstore. I would print them from here. It's going to cost you the same amount of money, but this gives you the exact structures that you need. All right, so let's do a couple of things then. Let's look at Module 1. So this is what you're going to be doing next week. The very first thing that I want you to do is to look at the review. The review are questions that you need to answer before you're taking your lecture exam. These are the learning objectives for these chapters. They're not due. You don't have to turn those in, but if you're wondering what is she going to test me on, that's what I'm testing you on. This link here talks a little bit about our Science Center academic support. I'm here all the time to help you, but if you would, we've got a really good Science Center and academic support. Jennifer Esch, there's a couple of other instructors that are in the Science Center, and they can help you with anything that you might have questions about as well, and sometimes hearing it from someone different might help you. It's pretty easy now. They give you a link where you, under here, they're going to just give you a link where you can just easily access them. The cost for this is $4.50 for the entire semester, but it's much easier now to be able to sign up for that. All right, then let's look at the first week, because the first week is kind of like our typical first week. So here's our first week. So typically, I want you to read, first thing is review the lab list, and then view I don't know, I have that twice. So review the lab list. That's the first thing I want you to do. For chapter 1, I don't have a video. So really what you're doing is just looking at the lab list, and then you're looking at the pictures that correspond to that lab list. So again, those are found under these under the lecture and lab notes. So those would be right here. You would want to review this list. You need to be able to spell them correctly, and then you can look at these pictures that correspond to that lab list. So that's the first thing you're going to be doing. The second thing you're going to do, these are automatically expanding and I'm not sure why. Okay, the next thing you're going to do, so you've reviewed the lab list, then you're going to view the Chapter 1 lecture videos, and you're going to take your own notes on that. So you can use the outline that I gave you as just a preliminary outline, but you will be taking your own notes as well. So this is just Chapter 1, and you can see on Chapter 1 that there are several videos that I expect you to watch. So the first video is 21 minutes, the second video is 29 minutes, the third video is 6 minutes. So these are the videos that you need to watch for Chapter 1. You'll be taking your own notes and following along with the notes that I've already provided for you. Now when you look under here, when you look under here, you can see the dates. So these are the dates. I'm trying to help you. You know, these are not anything that I'm going to grade you on, but I'm trying to keep you on track. So I'm putting some dates in here that of when you should have this done. So Chapter 1 should be done on Monday the 18th. Chapter 3 should be completed, the lab list videos and looking at the lab list. The Chapter 3 lecture videos and taking your own notes. Those are on Tuesday. Then on Wednesday, you do Chapter 4, so the Chapter 4 lab videos. and the Chapter 4 lecture videos. And this is typically what I would be doing face-to-face. You'd be coming to class, and each day I would be lecturing, and then we'd be going over lab models or lab structures. Then we have the dynamic study modules. Now you can get to, once you've enrolled in Mastering A&P, you can get to the dynamic study modules just by clicking on these links. So you don't have to go back through that link anymore. You can go here, and you can see that Chapter 1 has 3 different dynamic study modules, 1, 2, and 3. And it's telling you what sections of the book that those dynamic study modules are on. So for those of you that want to go and look at the textbook, you would read chapters 1.1 to 1.4 and then complete the dynamic study module. Now I go over all of these things in the lecture videos. So if you want to just access the book for areas that you're unsure about, you can do that. You don't have to watch the video and read the textbook. Either way, if you're a textbook reader and would rather just read the textbook, that's fine too. All the information is in the textbook. You can just read these sections and then do the dynamic study modules. However you feel you work best. Watch the videos or read the book, or do both. Do what you feel more comfortable with. Here's Chapter 3. Chapter 3, and you can see those due dates are all on Friday night, right? They're all Friday night, but look at how many there are. You would not be able to complete all of these by Friday night. I mean, that would just, on a Friday. You wouldn't want to say, okay, today's Friday and I'm going to do all my dynamic study modules for chapters 1, 3, and 4. I think that would be overwhelming and not a great idea. So again, what I suggest is that you do Chapter 1 lab and lecture, then do Chapter 1 dynamic study modules, as well as Chapter 1 homework. The next day, do Chapter 3 lab list and lecture videos, and then go to the Chapter 3 dynamic study modules and the Chapter 3 homework. And then the next day, do Chapter 4. 4 videos, and then 4 dynamic study modules, and then 4 homework. That's the best way to do it. So then you've completed everything that you need to do. There are no lab activities for the first week because I'm trying to just get you up to speed with how each week works. Every week is going to be exactly the same. The only thing that will change is that starting next week, you will have a couple of lab activities that will be due on Saturday night, and you'll be able to see those up in here. All right, so that's Chapter 1. Now, week 1. Then you have your exams. So Module 1A are the Module 1 assessments. So to go to the exams, I do have a wisdom wall on here where students in the past have said, okay, here's how I've studied for these exams. Flashcards, anatomy coloring book, Quizlet, review document, review questions you got wrong on the homework. These are great things. If you want to add to that, please edit, put in what you want to add, and then you can save it. So the wisdom wall is just something that I think is important for you to know, that other people are probably feeling overwhelmed, and they've got some suggestions on how they get through that feeling of being overwhelmed and how to actually study for the exams. Then you can see here's the lab exam that's due on Saturday night, and then here's the lecture exam that's due Monday night. Everything is always due at midnight on the date that you see. So the lab exam, again, you have to have the respondus lockdown. The practice exam is identical, so it pays for you to do the practice exam. But this is what it's going to look like. You're going to go in, and you're going to see these pictures, and you have to type in what this picture is. So this person is prone, and then the next one, you're going to see that, and you're going to put pubis. So and then you get to the end, you do this, you only have like 40 minutes to get this done. There's anywhere from 30 to 50 questions depending on the week, and then you submit, and then you'll be able to see what you got right and what you got wrong right away. So the practice exams are in the science club or in the A&P club. the General A&P Club, and it's identical to this. So it's basically just taking it over and over and over again to make sure you're doing that, getting a good grade. I'm going to show you the Science Club in just a minute, or the A&P Club. We changed the name. It's A&P Club. Then the next assessment then is going to be the lecture exam. So again, let me just say this though. Don't forget that on that lab exam, you can, on this lab exam, you are allowed to bring or to have with you this printed out PDF. So you have the lab structures right in front of you. You can, so there's no misspellings. I'm not going to go through and give you points back for misspelling. You have the spellings in front of you exactly how they're supposed to be. I'm not going to go through and recorrect your grades. So whatever grade you got, you got. I will add extra credit for doing the practice lab exam, and I'll add extra credit for doing the practice lecture exam. But that's it. I'm not going to be going back and recorrecting misspellings. Now on the lecture exams are set up so they're all multiple choice. You get 60 minutes to do them. There's 50 questions on them. They're each worth 2 points. So one way to practice for these then is to also go and do the practice quizzes on the A&P Club. So that is the week. So that's the week. And I'm going to go into this a little bit more on Monday. We'll talk a little bit more about it, but I just wanted to show you some of the things that I expect you to do before you come to class, go into Module 0 and do those things, and then also print out your lecture and lab lists, and then take a look at Module 1. You can get started if you want to right away. You can take those exams anytime you want to. I'm not holding you back. I'm not telling you to do the exams on Saturday and Monday. I'm saying do them whenever you're ready. All right, so now let's go into the Science Club, or it's the A&P Club. We had to change the name because we have a Science Center, and it sounded too much like the Science Club. So now we have this General A&P Club, right? So that's where you're going to want to go into, and when you click on this, it comes right up to the home button here. There's some PowerPoint images. If you ever want to look at the PowerPoint images from the textbook, you can get them here. There's some discussion questions in here that sometimes people feel are helpful, so you might want to do those. And then here is Chapter 1. So under Chapter 1, here's the practice lab exam and the practice lecture exam. Here's some additional lecture videos that you can look at if you want more clarification. Now what some people do is they go to the class, your class in Canvas, they watch the videos, they do all their assignments, and then the day right before the exam, they watch these videos. These videos are chunked out into smaller segments, and so they're not as long, and they watch them quickly before taking the exam, and that seems to help them take the exam. So I do recommend those lecture videos for that. The practice lab exam, this is going to be identical to your lab exam, so it's something that I highly recommend you do. Every time you take one of these exams, whether it's your actual exam or the practice exam, these questions are going to be randomly chosen. So they're not in the same order, they're taken from a test bank, so they're not always the same questions. And so you will have, that's why it pays to do these over and over and over again. So this is asking what the black arrow is looking for, and that would be, you could put superior in there, you could put cephalic in there. There's a number of different terms that you'll use and look at. This picture is looking at the front of the shin. This picture, again, that is prone. So you would do the same thing, and to get extra credit on this, you need to take this quiz over and over again until you get at least 70%. So as soon as you get 70%, then you'll get extra credit, but I just recommend that you do those over and over again. Then you also have the practice lecture exams. The practice lecture exams are probably, they're very similar to what the actual lecture exams are going to be. These are the publisher's questions. My lecture exams are actually in my words, so they're a little bit different. but these are excellent. And what I recommend you doing is when you go through here and answer the question, a person lying on the bed and gazing up at the ceiling is in the supine position. The mid-sagittal section of the body would pass through the, you look at that and you say, heart. But what if you answered it wrong and you said lung? And once you go down and submit that question, the reason why this is so helpful is that not, whether I'm looking to see, or whether you're looking to see if you got it right or wrong, but actually going to the ones that you got wrong and saying, why did I get that wrong? That's what's going to help you taking the lecture exam. Why did I get that wrong? And then if you can figure that out, there you go. Now you're one step closer to being ready to take that lecture exam. On these practice lecture exams, you need a 70% or higher in order to get extra credit. So for the first week, there's 3 chapters. There's chapter 1, 3, and 4. So to get extra credit on the lab exam, you would take the chapter 1 practice lab exam, the chapter 3 practice lab exam, and the chapter 4 practice lab exam. You're going to get a percentage point for each one of these lab exams added to your actual lab exam. So it's very, it can really help to bump your grade up. Same thing with the lecture exams. You're going to get extra credit points. Actually, I think there's 2 extra credit points for doing each one of these. So 2 extra credit points for chapter 3 lecture, 2 extra credit points for chapter 4 lecture, 2 extra credit points for chapter 1 lecture exam. So it really pays to do these lecture exams. So that is going to be your A&P club. All right, well, I think that's about all that I wanted to talk to you about today. I know it probably seems pretty overwhelming, but once you start looking at your course, the first thing, of course, is to go in there and get all of these things completed under Module 0 before Monday. That's going to be the most helpful thing that you can do. Just complete these before Monday, and then on Monday, get started on that Module 1. If you want to get started on Module 1 early, go ahead and do that. Again, you're just basically following the checklist. That's all it is a checklist. So, all right, so there we go. We are going to just go forward from there. If you have any questions, again, please, you can email me. Phone calls, I guess, are not my best way of communicating, so email me or Zoom. Set up a Calendly so we can Zoom. But anyway, I wish you good luck. Have a great weekend, and I will see you on Monday, hopefully. Otherwise, please make sure that you are watching the Zoom recordings at least for this next week. Take care, and good luck. Talk to you soon.